In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. This is going to be a fun one. This is our first list inspired by a Patreon or submitted by a submit. Oh, is the second list that we've done?
We did Pixar for Rosa.
Pixar for Rosa. You're right. I'm sorry.
Which sounds like a Pixar film. Pixar for Rosa.
Pixar for Rosa. Yes, but this is our second one. Then I'm sorry. Our second one that a patron has suggested, and we're slowly working our way through these lists and through these suggestions so that we can have some fun with them. January is kind of a dead. Is this coming out January or December?
No, this comes out day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas. All right. So we wanted to do one last fun one. Give a little love to the Patreon.
Yeah. This week is dead. For movie releases, and next week is dead. And I didn't even remotely think of doing New Year's because I was like,
yeah.
When Harry Met Sally.
And do we have a special one for coming up after that? Like we have a special one to start the new year?
Yeah, but we can't tell them about that.
Okay, we won't tell
we've
you
never
guys.
done that before. Why would we give a topic away?
Fine.
That doesn't make sense. And who are you, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm John Roca.
I'm Matt Nost. Welcome to the Top 10.
Welcome to the Top 10 Show. We're doing this live from Collider Studios tonight, right after my job or after work, and we're going to try to knock out a bunch of stuff. But this one I'm kind of looking forward to because we've talked about his films like all around in different lists, but I don't remember us ever doing a top 10 Clint Eastwood movies. Did we ever do that? No. Okay.
And we went actor.
Right.
Instead of, because I text you and I was like, which way are we going? You know what I mean? You've talked to that individual. So it's just like, all right, actor. And then you start thinking about it because you could do either. I could do a top 10 as I think of, maybe not.
I don't think I could. That's why I said acting, because I don't think I could get to the 10 on directing.
Then you got to start including like Changeling.
Right.
Or I don't know how many. I got to look at his list. Does he have like, he doesn't have like 14 to choose from.
Right.
That sucks.
Well, but there are some great ones on that list. The problem is, I don't think I could get to 10 of the stuff that I enjoy that he's directed.
Yeah.
I'd have a hard time. I could stop throwing 7.
Yeah, but some of the stuff that he's directed, I love.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think some of the stuff we'll talk about on the show. I'm sure. But this is a list or a subject from Drew Entz, ENSZ. That's his name. He submitted the subject, and it seemed like a good one for us to do.
And then we have his list, right?
Yeah, we do. We do have his list.
So we'll compare his list to ours at the very end.
Absolutely.
And see how right or wrong he was. We'll make that judgment when we get to it.
Absolutely.
Drew, I'm sure you haven't looked at it all that hard, and I haven't seen it yet, so it'll kind of be a shock to both of us. Where is his lane compared to ours?
It'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I am excited. We're doing this a few days before Christmas. I am leaving town, so John and I scheduled this night to do a bunch of recording, so that way you guys are covered. You get plenty of entertainment.
Yeah.
While we both go and enjoy our holidays.
Yep.
So I don't know why I made that sound like a threat, because in my head I was just like, so you just enjoy it, all right? We're banging this out. We are doing this at the last minute because we're so busy, but at the same time, I look forward to doing the show. I want to do the show, and I'm happy that people enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's more so if it wasn't fun to do, I wouldn't do it.
That's the thing, and I'm so exhausted doing so many things. Like, I didn't know if we were going to do 2 episodes through the holidays, and Matt's the one that was like, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And I'm like, okay, all right, yes, I should make time for this, make this happen, blah, blah, blah. Because I was quite happy to go dark for a couple of weeks. But now doing the Patreon, I think they make sense that we have to make this extra effort.
We've never missed
to do
a week.
I know.
Why would we start now?
I know.
We're consistent and people look forward to it, and I love Midnight Squad. Where you at?
Yeah, right.
Where you at? I love that every time where it's just like, because I'm usually up late, and I'll log on and be like, oh yeah, it released today, and it's 2 a.m., and people have already posted it Twitter and on Facebook and everywhere else. And like, this is great.
Yeah.
What's up, Midnight Squad? I love it.
There's a 3 a.m. squad now coming up.
I think it's wherever they check in the world. It's like because I've seen that before. It's just like, well, it's 9 a.m. where I'm at, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And over and over and over. So you compare and contrast, and you're like, oh wow. So you're listening to that like it starts your day over in England.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you're like, boom, I got that on my commute or something.
I know some people have commented like, oh shit, I was just about to go to bed.
Yep.
And you guys dropped this, and now I got to stay up.
I wonder if they actually make it through it.
I think they probably start, but I appreciate the posting of the message.
Yeah,
it means that it moved them that much that they would try to stay up for it. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, like we don't get to flip channels, and a movie comes on, and we're like, oh, I got to stay up. I got to watch this. We don't get to like tweet Keanu Reeves. Hey, guy, I was gonna go to bed, but and now I'm gonna watch your film or whatever. We don't get to do that. So
you'd at Keanu.
Sure. I don't even know if he has I'd be surprised if Keanu Reeves has a Twitter.
I'm sure someone that works for him runs his Twitter for him then. If you don't know, then I certainly don't know. I wouldn't say surely and certainly at the same time. Certainly don't know.
And we are coming, as we're recording, as this comes out, spoiler alert, we took care of business.
Well, it's not spoiler, is it? 'Cause
Right.
It came out days ago.
Yeah, but some people wait days to see it. So, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We took care of business.
You're goddamn right.
We whooped those team action babies.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah. We broke them. We broke them in half.
I still can't believe that prick tackled you.
Yeah, well, I remember being that young and that aggressive and
that dumb.
Well, sure, yes.
Dumb.
You do dumb things when you're young.
Yeah.
And, when he rushed me and I didn't anticipate that and he tackled me and, planted me into the ground, good for him. He got a tackle off. I didn't want to retaliate because I'm the older player. You know how it is. You play ball.
Well, hey.
You don't want to get involved.
You don't want to get hurt. You know how to land.
Yeah.
It's what Embiid says now. It's like why he falls so much. He just figures taking the impact and spreading it over his whole body as opposed to on one joint or something is better, so he just falls.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
Protecting yourself now, I have to do that.
Spread out the pain.
I thought I fractured I had definitely a deep bone bruise in my chest from basketball last week.
Really?
On the very last play, guy was going for a layup, young guy in great shape.
Yeah.
Taller, long limbs. So he was going through the lane. And he swung his elbows twice to clear space.
Ugh.
And it's a move. It wasn't dirty.
Okay.
Not from him, like not in that instance. It was instinctual, and he wasn't. I slid over his help defender, and he's just perfect timing.
Wow.
My momentum to try and slide, his elbow coming out, just right there, right at the top of my ribs. I was like, oh, it hurt so bad. Knocked the wind out of me, and I doubled over. He made the layup, and game was over. And I had one buddy come over and put my hand on my back because I was doubled over. He's like, you all right? He's like, dude, wind knocked right out of me. And it just was in pain for 2 days.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hate that shit when you get your wind knocked out.
That's not fun.
No, then you're like,
it's been forever. I haven't had it happen I couldn't tell you the last time. High school?
Yeah. Maybe, right that far back.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't fall like on my stomach or something like.
Right.
I know somebody else that fell on a football when they were younger, and just the way it hit and tucked up and just knocked the air straight out, but it had to be something forcing it out.
For me, I remember that happened once when I was going for a kick in soccer, and I went right into the air as I was going for a kick.
Okay.
And when I came down, it was just like the way I came down on my back is immediately like,
oh, I've done the back one.
Yeah.
Once
when
I was a kid.
The worst.
I held on to the garage doors. It was going up. I held onto the bottom one, and I took it all the way to the top, and it started to go up, and it just fell straight back from there. It landed, knocked the wind straight out of me. I remember that clear as day. I think I was like 6.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because I was going up, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm going up. I'm just so excited in the moment, like I'm flying kind of thing. And then you get to the top, and you're like, I didn't have an escape plan, and I don't even know what those words are. And just I remember this as clear as day looking at my hand and be like, oh, it's pivoting up. It's pivoting up. And just losing it.
Oh man,
that was a long time ago. I can't believe I still remember that after all these years.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling.
It is the worst feeling. Yeah, but you just gotta protect yourself. And then, see, the thing is, had you had, I think, like a half a second, a beat more, and your legs are set, like given how athletic ability you have.
Yeah.
With former military training, you do like a little swim technique and just knock them down or something like easy, just an easy little move and be like, please, swat the fly.
Sure.
But he caught you, unawares.
Well, he did, and he used you as kind of a shield because he shook your hand, and then I was like, okay, because I tried to shake Ben's hand, and he wouldn't shake my hand. And then I walked over, and I was pointing at the fans who would come to see us, like as a thank you. Because All the Belts podcast had their signs, and Late to the Party was there. Take 3 was there. God, why can't I remember her name? She was there. Kristen Smith was there.
Okay.
Yeah. And also Taylor. I forget her first name, but right now, I think it's Rachel Taylor. I think
I'm the worst with names. Kristen's I can remember because I can put a face to a name that already existed for me.
Right.
But I met a few other people that day, and I'll be damned if I can remember their names. I'm the worst at it. I got to meet you. Like I'll remember your face forever.
Right.
Oh, we've met, and I can tell you what we talked about and all that. I had to, like, when someone told me a long time, like, oh, use their name a lot in conversation when you first meet them because it'll cement it.
Oh, sure.
And it kind of does if you see them.
Yeah, semi-regularly.
Thereafter, quickly, like, oh, yeah, that's Jeff.
Right.
And then it cements it, like being able to recall it later, and then it now fashions it against, the wall in my mind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like, I am shit with names.
Which is tough in this town because everyone gets super sensitive about you not knowing their name.
Yeah.
And everyone brings it up to you, like, how could you not remember who I was? But yeah, I looked over and I was pointing and I was doing all this stuff that I was doing, and I had no idea. Taylor Robinson, that's her name. Sorry, Taylor Robinson. And I had no idea Andrew was coming to the last second. And then when he hit me, all I could do was look back to make sure I wasn't hitting the edge of the desk or the edge of the stage or any of the steel that is right around the area of the stage. And I just caught him. And if you watch it in slow motion, he literally plants me so much so that he goes straight down as opposed to on top of me. He lands like a missile, hitting me from above, and then bounces off. Throws
it's like a Zapruder film for you, frame by frame.
He throws a couple of punches before they dragged him off. And
did Ben throw him? Is like their second shooter? That's what I want to know.
Maybe he did.
That's how he got the extra velocity. Where is he in the frame? I don't know. I don't know.
I think they set it up. I think Ben said to him, "You tackle that sumbitch if they beat us." I think Ben maybe talked to Andrew.
I mean, he did. He bolted around and
he really did.
He played some football in his day because it was good form.
Oh, it was, and he prepped it. He took the jacket off. Like, why are you taking the jacket off? It was weird, and then all of a sudden, bam!
I just figured the pressure had finally been too much.
Yeah,
that's all.
But it was great to see Dale the Dude pull him off, and that, and
I was in
else.
shock. I was like, what is going on? And they were right next to you, and they leapt over. And I was still sitting there like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What is this?
It's just a movie trivia.
Yeah.
What's with the
I'm
aggression?
a grown man.
Yeah.
Are we really doing this?
Let's get it happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to tackle you.
No. Well, a couple of people apparently got up and were grabbing chairs. JT apparently grabbed a chair and was on his way over to hit Andrew in the head with a chair. So, loyalty's there to a degree.
Yeah.
Whatever the factions are, loyalty's there to a degree about like having known each other for a while. So he was, that's a Latino rage.
I just like that he reaches for chair, though. You know what I mean?
I dig it.
At the same time, though, it's like the hillbilly element to grab in the room. Like, grab, what you got? Folding chair? Perfect. God. Thank you.
That's all I need. Where's the broken beer bottle?
What do you got? What do you got? Pool cue? Let's use a pool cue. There's few better than folding chair just to grab that.
I'm surprised Ken didn't put out a kendo stick. Come at him like that with a wrestling thing. He carries those in his trunk. It's really insane. Anyway, so we took care of business, and we'll see what happens going into the new year. We've got a number one contender match coming out. Much to the chagrin of some of the people on the Movie Trivia Schmodown page who can kiss my ass. We are, they are like, new blood, new blood, new blood. F all that, man. If we keep beating your new blood, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Listen, go back and watch the first one.
Yeah.
They flukely won.
Yep.
And you damned well know. You cannot look me in the eye and tell me that they were the better team that day. They got lucky. The game was all in their favor that day, and we still were within a puncher's chance of winning that fucking game.
Yep.
So the beatdown they got is what they deserved. We've done it to better teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've made bigger fools of better men.
That's true. Oh, great statement, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's take on. We're taking on Top That, and we'll see what happens with them, and then we'll see who's the champions by the time we take care of Top That.
That could be our first bumper sticker. I like that as a bumper sticker.
What's that? Oh, we've made bigger fools of better men.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Top 10.
It's our Churchillian quote right there.
That's right. Anyway, all right, Matt, you want to tell them how the show works?
Yeah, once we set a topic, thank you. Is it Mr. Ertz?
Ents.
Ernst. We set a topic, which is Clint Eastwood this week. We go separate ways and create individual top 10 lists. We show it back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 lists, we create the shows between the two of us.
Bam! Look at that.
Done.
Yeah.
Fun. I love this list.
Yeah, man. A lot of good movies on this list.
I love this list.
He's an iconic guy, man. There's so much to talk about.
Oh, man. Because you could do practically top 10 Westerns.
Really, you could.
You could.
Yeah.
And I've got quite a few.
Okay, fair.
And my 10 spot was just like, man, there's a lot of them that I want to put in here.
Yeah.
So I know I got to include this one.
Okay.
Which is High Plains Drifter.
Ooh, I had to leave that one off. That's one of my honorable mentions. But great choice, man.
Dude, I think it's his first directorial.
Yes.
And, listen, he's been with the best of the best.
Yeah.
For 8 years, 10 years at that point.
Yeah.
Like making one amazing Western after another. So he's picked up a lot of good lessons. Mm-hmm. And he goes in, it's a kind of dark.
Super dark.
Compared to, like, he goes that way in other films, but this one from, like, the outset, like, doesn't he rape that woman, like, the second or the first woman he comes into contact with at the hotel? Or
he kind of, like, does it to shut her up or whatever.
Yeah, because she's trying to, like, basically razz him and break his balls a little bit.
She's trying to question his manhood.
Yeah.
And, and the thing that's interesting about this movie is that he comes out of the haze and then disappears.
He is
back
no
into
one.
the haze, right?
Exactly.
He has a connection to the town because he's taking revenge on the town and on those guys who just got out of prison because of what they did to him when he was visiting the town. So he takes he is like he's like the avenging angel. He is meting out. He's like Archangel Gabriel, like meting out punishment.
The fact that it comes against the town as well and saying, that they were getting rid of another evil, and be like, no, you can't. 2 wrongs do not make a right.
Exactly.
And you're complicit with what transpired.
Yeah.
So you're not absolved of sin just because you didn't do the actual act. And then you screwed those guys over. So there's no honor among thieves amongst you.
Right.
And I think it's the end. It was just like, what's your name? You're like, you know my name.
Yeah.
And just
right
off in. You're like, let's paint the town red. Let's paint the town red. And then call it hell?
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is so great.
It's so many great choices for your first directorial debut in a Western, which is a well-tread category at this point, and to come up with something that's just dark from the outset.
It really is, and it's an indictment on people who watch stuff happen and don't stop it from happening.
Yeah,
right. It's just so, and we see it's a common thing in Westerns. High Noon does that. There's a number of Westerns that have why didn't the townspeople, the man who shot Liberty Valance, why don't the townspeople get more involved? And it bleeds into the American thing too. Like, why aren't people more involved when they see something happening? They pull out their phones nowadays instead of stopping something from happening. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's one of those especially in those earlier films.
Yeah.
The town was so naive they didn't, on some level, even know maybe they should, or didn't know how to do it, or they were just like, they're a small town, and that's how we're presenting them. This like stereotypical. They're all all shucksy and they all get along, and they've never had a problem here. And not only can you leave your doors unlocked, we leave our windows open, and car keys right on the front seat. Like this is the most laid back of towns. We never encountered anything like that. Whereas in this, it's just like no, you're real people, and you know what you did. Yeah, it's
It's a good film, though, man. Great
choice. I found out about this movie from the Beastie Boys.
Oh.
High Plains Drifter.
Right.
I loved that song as a kid, and then I was like, that's based on a movie? And then I watched the movie because of it.
Like,
not kidding. I love that song.
That's great, man. What's your number
9? My number 9, I was flip-flopping, but I had so many Westerns. I was like, I will do it here. Outlaw, Josey, Wales.
We're punting.
Okay.
I love that film.
So do I.
Yeah. All right, what's your number
8? My number 8 is In the Line of Fire.
We are punting again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You made me go back and revisit this film.
Okay.
And
I haven't seen it since, but I mean, I still like it.
It's one of I forget what show we were doing. You talked about it.
I think it was for the angle of Malkovich in the assassination show.
Yes, and that made me, because you'd mentioned it a couple times before in previous iterations of the show, and so I was like, maybe I should go back and revisit this one. And it happened to come on just randomly, and I was like, damn, this is a lot better than I fucking remember, even more so. So I had to make the adjustments.
It's got a lot of good tension. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
All right, so my number 10 is a Western as well, and that's Pale Rider.
Okay, that was fighting for
Yeah.
my final. Go ahead.
Dude, I love Pale Rider just a little bit more than High Plains Drifter, because it was that and Hang 'em High that were fighting around with Pale Rider. Pale Rider I like because I think it got an unfair reception in the 80s. I think it's actually a really damn good movie, and it's you got some good Michael Moriarty action. Of course, Clint Eastwood as Preacher is great. I remember that being one of the first questions I was asked in the Western category in the Schmoedown. I was like, oh, yeah, Preacher. Not even a question. It was so cool. And he's got the stick, and Chris Penn is in this thing. Jaws, Richard Kiel is in this thing. And, he, once again, it's that standard trope of like this stranger coming into town, helping these townspeople against this corrupt system or corrupt person. It's played by Richard Dissert from L.A. Law. And he hires these, like, men they're all in these dusters, and you see they're all character actors. Like the guy who played Nitty in Untouchables, he's one of the guys. They're all character actors who played villains. And so Richard Dissert is like, he's raping the town in essence for their gold. Like they're all mining for gold, and they come and get money from him, but he screws them out of the prices because he can. Because they have nowhere else to go. And so eventually he's like weaning these people down to where they're essentially just working for him, period. And anything they make off the gold, he makes like 3/4 of what they're making. So Preacher comes into town.
It's like Script with coal miners.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. And Eastwood comes into town with a priest collar, and he's not a preacher or priest at all, but it immediately gets him connected into the town, and then he spends the rest of the movie figuring out how to like help these people go against this guy. And then the reason is because this guy, the main henchman he hired, is a guy that Clint Eastwood confronted earlier in his past and shot him 5 times in a circle in his back. So shot him from behind 5 times in a circle in his back. And so by the time you get to the end of the movie, Preacher has like beat up everybody else that's affiliated with this guy. He shot all his henchmen, and then all that's left is the main henchman there in front of Richard Dissert. And when Eastwood takes his hat, because the guy doesn't know who he is, he's like, "Who are you?" He just, "Who are you?" And then Eastwood takes his hat off, and the guy goes, "You." And it's fucking awesome. And then Eastwood shoots him in a circle around and then the last shot is right point blank in the head, which is fantastic. So, and then he takes off, just like he does in High Plains Drifter, shows up, does his business, and then takes off. He doesn't.
You can only get away with that with westerns like samurai films or something like that.
Basically, yeah.
A wandering mercenary that comes in.
Samurai. Yeah. It's good stuff. I just really enjoy it, and
that's where some of the early Western directors started stealing from.
Yes,
like Kurosawa.
Yeah,
we'll get to that one.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, but I mean, but it makes sense. It's a perfect kind of. Yeah. The figure is the same. It's just a different culture, but you're telling the same story.
Exactly.
Yeah. The reason it didn't make my list is like I have to go back and rewatch it. I saw it once as a kid, but as you're going through it, I was like, oh yeah, that scene. I'm like visually in my head, but it's been years, and I didn't have time to watch it. So I was like, wow.
It's one I go back to all the time, which is why it's on my list.
I'll take High Plains Drifter. I still remember that. I've watched it a couple of years ago.
Fair enough. So then my number 8 is, or my number 9 rather, is Dirty Harry.
Oh, punting.
Yeah, really?
Oh, okay. Punting.
All right. Then my number 8, speaking of Kurosawa, is A Fistful of Dollars.
Punting again.
Oof. All right.
Punting
Here we go.
Again.
This is going to be a fun list to compile as we go through it. All right, go ahead.
That was your 8?
That was my 8.
7 for me then is $1 Million Baby.
That's a punt for me.
So basically we're getting to the same movies. It's just I have a chunk of yours lower and you have a chunk of mine.
This is going to be a nice little battle when we put this list together about where everything goes. Okay, so what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Escape from Alcatraz.
Oh, I didn't put that on my list.
Really?
Fuck. I don't know why I don't have more of a thing for that one. I think
like
it's because of Birdman. I think I like that one better.
I like Birdman of Alcatraz as well. I do. But I also like this one because, it's predicated upon the actual story of the guys that broke out from Alcatraz that they never caught. They found like remnants of the craft and stuff like that across the shore, like down the way a little bit, but they were never seen from, hide nor hair.
Right.
The rest of any of their natural lives.
Yeah.
So the warden got to spin it that they all drowned, nobody survived. And that's, so they make a movie about this, and it's ridiculous like how much they can steal from the reality of what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like the life preservers, I believe the prisoners found a book on like how to make a raft and do all these other things that were specific to the situation that they're in.
Right.
Stuck on an island. why would you allow like nobody was just there? Books.
Yeah.
We'll just put books in there as long as it doesn't have how to file away jail cell door bars or something like that. So Eastwood, I think, is Danny Glover's first movie.
Oh wow,
I think so.
God, it's been a while. Is George Kennedy in this one?
I'd have to go back and look at the rest of it. It's a bunch of like, oh yeah, that guy was in this. And then I think at least one of the other prisoners, I can't tell you one other thing that he's in.
Okay.
But I like the story and the build. And it was such a cool, like I remember reading the story as a kid, and then I saw the movie later. And it brought it to life, and like here's how potentially, and like a version of what could have happened.
Right.
And I've always liked it since then. It's just like it's a fun kind of escape movie, and you don't know which side to root for because they should be locked. If you're in Alcatraz, you're not there for light reasons.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to applaud the perseverance of the human spirit to get out of a cage.
Yeah.
Something that's designed to keep them in. You kind of, I don't know. It's almost like maybe your felony wasn't as bad as everybody else's, so we're willing to look the other way. You got through this fucking mousetrap maze and got out. On some level, you got to respect it.
Yeah.
He should still be recaught. Maybe put him in like a white collar prison or something after that, which will probably break out even easier. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But but I just like it, the spark of that kind of fun. And it's always been a weird idea that's stuck in my head. And like, I don't know whose side I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
Or at least I should be, because they make the warden out in this to be an asshole. And, you don't know his backstory. There's no motivation to that character or the guards or anything else other than I'm keeping you locked up.
What's the same thing with Shawshank? All those people in Shawshank Redemption, they're all like criminals, except for Tim Robbins.
But
They're
Tim
criminals.
Robbins, and at the same time, Morgan Freeman paid his time.
Yeah.
I think so, ultimately at the end.
He killed somebody when he was young, and he was sentenced to so many, but then eventually get parole. Yeah, but like all those other guys, they did terrible shit. So it's like, to be in that situation. So that's the deal you make with yourself when you're watching these films, that it's like, okay, if you make the characters interesting and compelling enough, I'll look past that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to enjoy the movie.
Well, in Shawshank, most of the other guys were in there for, outside of like Brooks or one or two others, some guys were only in for 10 years or 15 years. So it was like armed robbery, which it's not good, but you didn't murder 10 people.
True.
So there's a gradation. There's a reason you're in there for 10 years.
Right.
So they weren't all the worst of the worst. They were still pretty bad. I'm not saying that they were all good people.
No. I
just got swept up into circumstantial stuff, but no, they're all bad people.
Right.
But yeah, just I like prison movies. I like escape movies.
Yeah.
And to see, Clint doing something else outside of your Dirty Harrys, your Westerns, your those type of things. At that point, like in my understanding of Clint Eastwood, was a departure, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, fair. That was your number 6?
That was my 6.
Okay, so then my number 7 is Gran Torino.
Not on my list.
Wow, really?
No.
It's not your thing?
He's good in it.
Yeah.
I think the movie, because he chose to, like, the actors that didn't have as much experience, it shows in certain points. So the pacing of it didn't really work for me.
Yeah, for me, for whatever reason, it did work because those kids, because they were so authentic.
There was something really good. I'm not slagging their acting. They did better than I probably could have done. But it was just like Clint's so used to being with the best.
Yeah.
And in certain scenes, it just felt it just took me out of it when I watched it.
That's fair. For me, I didn't feel that way. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed him very much so in the character he was doing.
An old bulldog.
Yeah, and this whole idea, and even because you see the progression of his being a bit racist or a lot racist, do you really want to say, to the because of his experience in foreign countries as a soldier and his ideas of but then you see those two kids break through that because he can't help himself but feel a certain kinship with them because they're fighting against, they're underdogs fighting against what they're fighting for and what have you. And then and it's what's so great about the film. It shows you this whole thing. And this is interesting because, Clint's very well known for being a conservative guy, but you see this film where he has to kind of, as the symbol of America, has to accept these foreigners who live next to him and maybe understand their culture a little bit more so he can have a peaceful coexistence with them. And they don't give in or kiss his ass or do anything.
No.
They're very clear about what their traditions and their principles are, and they're not going to sacrifice them for him, but they're still going to respect him as a man, as an elder, and as a man who's accomplished things in his life. So that's what's it's like this truce that eventually happens after the initial stuff. And I think what helps that happen is the gang stuff that's going on from the lesser elements of that particular ethnicity.
Well, then he
Also
can
the
side
fact
with.
that-
He understands their fight.
Yes.
And it's just the right thing, and they're doing the right thing in his eyes. So he joins up, with them. When he comes out and basically just get off my lawn.
Yeah.
It's great. You believe it.
When he does the gun finger thing, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
He's a soldier.
If that guy
He's a
lived
warrior.
in your neighborhood, like where I grew up,
Yeah.
you saw older people like sitting on their porches or hanging
sure.
out, and I knew more of I knew of the 20 houses. Like I played with 5, 6 of the houses, different kids, and we all just hung out on the street and played wiffle ball and did all that, crap. So if we had somebody like that in my neighborhood, I would be, I would respect that man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
But you understand the rules. Like don't run on his grass or whatever else.
Exactly.
And he'll leave you alone if you leave him alone.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah. Same thing with me, man. Growing up in Virginia, you saw those guys roaming around in front of their houses doing whatever, and you would say, hey, Mr. Johnson, but then you knew what not to do around certain people in certain houses and things of that nature. And so you see that with him, and I really like that because in the end, he sacrifices himself. It's his last battle. He goes out the way a soldier wants to go out, in battle, defending those who can't defend themselves, and he gifts the kids the Gran Torino, and I just like the film. It's something I go back to a number of times because I like his performance.
It's excellent.
And I like the kids.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was my number 7. So then my number 6 is a personal favorite of mine, and I had to struggle. I struggled with myself, like, where am I going to put this on the list? Do I be honest with myself that this is a film that I thoroughly enjoy and watch multiple times?
Where are we going?
Or do I tell myself,
is this Paint Your Wagon Red or whatever that is?
Or do I tell myself I need to put this lower on the list because it's not necessarily a high
Will you just get to it? I love this.
No, let me explain to the fans. So then my number 6 is Heartbreak Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See? You see what I had to explain it? I had to explain it.
I think you went way overboard.
Please.
It's personal taste.
That's what I'm saying. So, sometimes I struggle between personal taste and what is actually a damn good, objectively a good movie. But
I try never to do that. I just try. It's my list. This is my.
Right.
Yeah. It sucks when I violate it too because I feel like an idiot afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I'm like, I'm doing too much of this, and then after a while, like those are the only ones I walk away. I'm like, oh man.
Right.
I wanted that there. Why did I fight myself for that?
That's
I wanted that there.
That's fair.
It's just dumb. I've done it like twice.
Well, Heartbreak Ridge. It's one that I really, really love. I think it's because of my military stuff. Like I know guys like that. I was in the military. I wasn't in the Marines, right? Because they're Marines, but I know guys like that, and I know platoons like that, and I know interplatoon rivalry shit, interplatoon dirty politics, dirty pool. I saw that happen when I was in the military a number of times. So. Everything that happens in this movie is pretty choice, and I like his portrayal. And it was him coming back to something that he hadn't done in a bit, right? This more gruff kind of thing when he was like, because he'd been doing Any Which Way But Can, Any Which Way But Loose. He was doing
he was trying to do something different,
right? And to see him come back to this in the mid '80s was really enjoyable for me, and just the whole gunnery highway, that whole thing that he has. And then Mario Van Peebles is randomly in this movie, and the platoon.
You could say that about a lot of movies in the '80s.
Yeah, true, and early '90s, but. What's great is it's a platoon of misfits, and they've all been like stepped on and used by the more elite platoon as training dummies for them. But Eastwood comes in because he's kind of like he's had issues. He has a drinking problem. He had issues in other stops, and his friend gets him the job here, and he has to, in essence, kind of whip these dudes into shape.
Yeah.
He whips them so into shape that they're willing to go toe-to-toe against the elite guys, which really pisses off the captain who's there because the captain prides himself on his polished platoon, and Eastwood, and he thinks he knows how to do military tactics in battle, but Eastwood's actually been in battle. This captain hasn't been in battle, and so they slam into each other a couple of times.
Therein lies
I enjoy it.
the reason for the tension.
Yes,
because I don't believe your leadership because you've never done it before.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You see it in I just rewatched Band of Brothers not long ago.
Oh yeah.
And like when new lieutenants come in later, or like they're getting ready to do a jump and be like, "Listen, Sergeant, just tap me on the shoulder when I'm getting ready, when the light is on, I'm supposed to jump." And he's like, "The light will be next to your face."
Yeah.
That's an order. Just tap me on the shoulder. And you're like, okay, not a problem, man.
Right.
Just the simple things of like, you have to earn my respect, but I will make sure that I give it in front of the other men.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't confront you, but at the same time, it's just like, I've been here. Relax. We're going to have to climb bigger mountains than this.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a film that I just thoroughly enjoy. I like his portrayal. He has that he's coming back to a woman he used to date with Marsha Mason. Probably the last big role she had. She'd been big in the 70s and early 80s. And that is not a sweet little romance. What do I say? It's a begrudging romance that eventually happens, and so everything's leading up to his redemption. And so I enjoy that about the movie. And there are moments where he gives in to his alcoholism, and you see him in a prison cell because he's gotten too unruly. He's gotten into a fight, and he's there, and he's just kind of talking to himself, saying stuff, and he's like, "Oh, see, so this is nice to see a more layered portrayal." So, all right, that was my number 6.
Okay,
what's your number 5?
My number 5. This is when we get into my faves.
Okay,
basically.
yeah, our punts have to land here somewhere.
Yeah, my faves. So now we're just like it's a nice mix, but
okay,
I love every one of these movies, and I got no guilt with it whatsoever. For a few dollars more is number 5.
Oh, not on my list.
Not on your list?
No.
I love all.
I had to limit the
Don't
Leone.
care.
I had to.
Don't care.
Yeah, fair.
Do not care, because if I'm going to be honest with myself, those are the ones I go back and rewatch, and those are my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Just I like each story individually for its own reasons.
Right.
For the reasons of like they deviate. Like so within this one, he teams up with another bounty hunter, and they're going after a guy that had just been broken out of prison, who had killed people in the past, and they flash back to like his past, and this guy deserves to die. Right. It's basically what you find out. But they've got a great hook with them with the pocket watch that comes on, and it sets such an eerie little chime, and then it goes into the first time these big church organs. And if you haven't seen it, it'll remind you of Interstellar.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't stay for that long, because now I've heard Interstellar. Now when I go back and watch that, I'm be like, oh man, if they just carried the organ through this, it would build the drama even more. Now having heard, like when someone builds the pace and the intensity within the scene, just have that driving, huge, thunderous music.
Yeah.
But that is such a great hook, and ultimately who he has to team up with, considering who that actor is.
Lee Van Cleef, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
To see them kind of on the same side for once.
For once, yeah.
Yeah, and just like, see, I like him every time, even though I know he's going to lose. And in this one, it just, especially with one I know we're going to get to eventually.
Yeah.
Because there's a trifecta of, like, I like all three. But anyway, so to see them team up and take out, and the guy that plays Indio is a great villain. Yeah. Just captivating eyes, and just someone that locks you in. Like, I love just the pacing of this one.
Is this the one that ends by like in the town square by like the well, or and they keep shooting him and he has the steel under? Okay, so that's the other one. That's the one that I like. Yeah, that's the one that I like. For a few dollars, it's a good movie. I think it's the lesser of the three, in my opinion. And so for me,
it's 5.
It was right. It was easier for me to drop it off the list for the other ones because it's not one I go back to all the time. But the other two, I do.
I watch all 3. Those are in my like. I love these westerns.
You got the collection.
Yeah, it's just they're some of the most fun, and I can put them on. It does not bother me that they're as long as they are. They could keep going.
Right.
I like these characters.
Yeah.
I wish he'd continue the story, and even brought in other actors you use for other things within this one. That would have been amazing. Yeah. Let's kick out an extra half hour on this thing, 45 minutes, and incorporate a third storyline.
Make them all connected.
Yeah, why not?
A 9-hour movie.
It's like this weird trilogy thing that ultimately ties in. I would love it if somehow that's how it worked out. I don't care that it didn't.
Right.
But at the same time, like all 3 movies I thoroughly enjoy, and this one is it's just a different departure for what I was expecting, because I didn't see these in the order of, I was born after these all came out.
Right.
So this was the last of the 3 that I saw. So it was a nice change up too. You're like, oh, okay, something different.
All right, what's number 4?
Well, we go to your 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus, I'm sorry, buddy.
It's all right.
My number 5 is the Outlaw Josey Wales. So that's a punt from earlier. I like him in this movie, and I dig the story and the fact that he's a reluctant hero.
Yeah,
right? He does
to say
not,
the least.
Yeah, he does not. He has a mission that he's trying to go on. He does not want to take on the Native American guy. He doesn't want to take on the girl. He
didn't want to take on the Civil War.
Yeah, the Civil War. Exactly.
Until the Union
they forced him.
Kansas, are they the Jayhawks?
Yeah.
Like the actual Jayhawks that they're named after came through and killed his wife and his son, I believe.
And they burnt his house to the ground. Yeah.
So now he's got no choice.
Yeah.
It's the reason it doesn't rate higher. I don't go back to it as much because the reluctancy of his heroism. I want him to get to it sooner. That's what drives me nuts about this movie. It's just like I know you're going to get there. I want you to kill these assholes, or not kill them, but give them their just deserves,
right,
or dessert, or whatever the case is.
Desserts, yeah.
So I still love it though.
Yeah,
it made my list. I'm not besmirching. It just doesn't rate higher because I watch others more. That's at this point.
But I like his journey because I relate to that journey. The idea of like, sometimes I don't want to help or be a hero, or do whatever, and it's like, and I'm like,
it takes effort.
It takes effort, and you're just like, as you get older, it's like it's more and more effort. You're just like, so I like reluctant heroes. I enjoy them because at times to me they're the most pure heroes because they're not looking for
they are
self-aggrandizement. They're not doing it for a place of kissing their own ass. They are like reluctant, begrudging, and then they do it. And when they do it, they fully commit to it when they start to do it. And I think that's why they're reluctant because they know how much it's going to take out of them. And you see that with Outlaw Josey Wells. You see that with Clint Eastwood, his story, his progression in the movie, because he has to confront this stuff and he has to accept the deaths as they occur in the movie and all this kind of stuff that happens to him. And so, and he has to become almost like a father figure to the girl and all this kind of. So it's like
it's like a patriarch to the entire like band of misfits that he's got with him
that he collects. Yeah.
What I always liked about that is when they get to the bar later on in the film, and the patrons there hardly know the guy, but they stuck up for him, and it seems so honest and genuine.
Yeah,
just that. Who are you asking about that guy? That guy's been here, and we don't get many people, and he was fine.
Yeah.
So why are you starting trouble? He didn't do anything, kind of thing. Like all unspoken, and I believe it entirely. I like that. I like that last little bit. And the confrontation with the Indians at the end, the Native Americans. But I am Cherokee, so I'm going to say Indians.
Fine.
Why not?
As you wish.
It's just so clunky saying Native Americans. It just shows that you're going out of your way to be, to me at least, to be like overtly politically correct. Okay. I don't know.
That's your thing about brevity, though.
True.
You just want to get to it.
True.
Just like you were telling me now.
I don't view it as a slur, but at the same time, I didn't grow up on a reservation. I don't know any of that world.
Right.
Yeah, mine is fractional. I believe 1/8. Okay, so it's
nice
by federal designation. Technically, I am. I think it's 1/16 and higher.
Nice,
but what does that mean? 1/8.
Yeah.
I would have gotten discounts like on maybe potentially college and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha.
But it was a big pain in the butt. It was tremendous.
You didn't want to trade it on it.
Yeah, it was like, and there are other people that needed it more.
Yeah.
Take the full ride. I don't need whatever that is going to be.
Right. The conversation that.
So anyway, when they show up at the end, it's just two guys just sizing each other up. But at the same time, it's just between the eye contact, you can tell that there's a level of respect.
Yeah.
And that's kind of tough to do.
Well, and also because you see what he's been turned into because of this, because of what happened with the Union, the Jayhawks.
He's willing to die in that moment.
Exactly. And he comes to terms with what he's become because of it. And is he correct to be this way? And I love that. That's the whole thing of like, I became this to confront what happened and to seek my revenge. And now that I have the chance I have to accept that I've fully become this person, and may have to walk away fully from who I was before. So it's just a really cool film. All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is A Fistful of Dollars.
Hey-o. Yes, that was one punt from my number 8. Yeah.
Really? Number 8?
Yes.
Really? That's the one where you get shot. That's Fistful of Dollars.
That's a great film.
And he just, shoot for the heart.
Yeah.
Shoot for the heart. I love that.
The score is so good in that moment. It is, right?
It is. That's the Kurosawa. That's Yojimbo.
Yeah, Yojimbo, exactly.
Just where he floats in, and he's pitting two rival people against each other just to get a little payday out of it. And then ultimately, kind of has to choose a side on some level.
Yeah.
And I like it. The guy deserves it at the end.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite part of it.
He does.
Like, he outsmarts him by what is a really kind of obvious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, you keep shooting him and you don't notice that they're bouncing off of him. I mean,
he thinks he's a ghost. He thinks he's a ghost of some kind.
Yeah. And he's also, he's blinded by fear and like a subtle bit of rage, too, of like, you're gone.
Right.
Just right for the heart. That gets me every time. I watch it just to get to that scene.
That scene's great.
That scene is just amazing. And I enjoy the story throughout as he goes back and forth and just figures out a little piece of information here and uses it to exploit it over here. But at the same time, these people are fighting over what? Who knows what? So he's getting his, and then he's getting out.
Right.
That's his game plan.
That's like 90% of Eastwood's movies. Is
I know, but
going in and getting out.
This one is just so pale in its intent.
Yeah,
like you see right through it. You know exactly what he's there to do, but they have to respect him because he blows into town, of course, out of nowhere.
Yes,
like every really truly good Western on some level. And he kills 4 dudes with no effort. Like, just unbelievable. You're like, all right, who's this?
You get that sound.
Yeah. And both sides saw it, so they both know he's someone to be respected, not to be messed with. And that's why he's able to float back and forth. It's just so much fun.
I think for me, what takes away from it now in retrospect, because I watched it again, I think a few months ago on AM. They were doing a run of them on TCM, and I got a little perturbed, or not perturbed, but I just got like about the townspeople, about the factions. They're so overt in their behavior that it feels a bit cheesy for me at times and not as believable. And so for me, that's why it's not one that I run back to. Whereas the one that's higher up on my list, I don't have any complaints about. And there's the difference. And I think that's why it moved it a little bit further down.
I have a very good feeling our 1 and 2 are probably very similar.
Probably the same, yeah.
Yeah, probably very similar.
All right, so that was your number 4?
Yes, that was my number 4.
And then my number 4 is a punt from early In the Line of Fire.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Like I said, Matt talking about it made me revisit the film, and just seeing what he's doing. This is an actor doing a role that in my opinion, he's never done before, like anything like this. And I feel like he's never done anything like that.
Because
he carries guilt of not having done something at a certain time to stop it from happening.
But he's the first selfless hero that Clint ever played.
Probably.
Because usually the motivation is either he floats in and out of town, or he's a broken individual that's trying to redeem himself, or vengeance, or something along those lines. Whereas this time it was failure of duty, but the failure wasn't so bad. It's not like he was asleep at the wheel.
Right. It isn't egregious.
Yeah.
It's him torturing himself.
Exactly.
Right? It's his...
They kept him on the job. Exactly. They obviously felt that he wasn't to blame for this, but at the same time, that's, no excuse on his part.
Yeah.
So he's going to beat himself up. I would do the same. It's an easily identifiable character.
Right, and I enjoy that. And I enjoy what happened. And Malkovich is so juicily evil.
See, this is a good Malkovich role.
It really is. He's so juicy in his evilness. And then when he has that thing like, I want you to know that I saved your life, you have to carry that with you. But it's like a weird kind of mental torture. The stuff with Rene Russo, and then, of course, the stuff that happens with Dylan... What's his name? Oh, fuck, I forget his name. From Boston Public. I forget. Dylan McDermott? No.
McDermott?
Yeah, Dylan McDermott. And then when Dylan McDermott gets shot and the whole thing of him trying to say... So,
yeah, because then there's Mulroney.
Dermot Mulroney. Yeah, you get those two confused.
The two got famous at the same time and look very kind of similar.
Yeah. I think there's a YouTube video where they meet and they make a joke about it. So, but anyway...
The world didn't collapse in upon itself. There's singularity.
But no, he does such a great job with this and showing the torture of himself, the vulnerability of that, but then his desire, and you factor in his age. This idea that he wants to redeem himself in some way, shape, or form, and he's going to do it almost at any cost, even though Rene Russo is like there to try to stop him and try to kind of make this other. He is really driven to do it, and I like to see that color in Clint. It's something I haven't seen before, and so I really enjoy it because he still has his Clint moments. But there's a desperation to them that I've never seen before in any of the roles. So I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a punt from you earlier.
Okay.
And it makes it for 2 reasons. But it's Dirty Harry.
Oh, Dirty Harry.
Because I knew of the Clint Eastwood swagger long before I saw this. And it's such a... This is part of the myth of Clint Eastwood is built upon this in my brain on some level because the stories loomed, but I wasn't old enough. For whatever reason, my parents would let me watch all kinds of different stuff, but Dirty Harry would just never came up. Yeah. You know, I saw Aliens in like 3rd grade or something.
Because Dirty Harry is believable.
That's perhaps. That's a kind of,
that's an unsettling believability.
It is. Yeah. So from the opening, it is pure 70s.
Yes.
It's got this like, you know, wah-wah pedal inspired. The drummer's riding a hi-hat, a little and it just like sets the mood from the moment. And all the little things now that you could never get away with in a movie. Like, I think the girl in the pool in the very beginning gets shot, but then starts bleeding out the front, and I don't believe it's a through and through.
Okay.
And you're like, and she's lying down, you're like, I don't know about that one, but that's fine. I don't care. Like, I still enjoy the movie for all the, like, the bravado of when, you know, when he gets to the huge iconic line or the speech right before that. they set the character up where he's eating the hot dog, but
Yes.
he calls in, hey, let him know there's a 211 or whatever it is in progress. And okay, I'll call it in. He gets the hot dog, the hamburger stand guy that owns it to make the call for him. He's just like, I'm going to get a bite. I know I got to go work in a second, kind of thing. And I buy it. That's the thing. What other actor could pull that off? Because he looks pissed off in this movie. Everything that he does, everything doesn't matter. The moments where you would think he would enjoy it, he still looks pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, there are points at which it's tough to watch. Mm-hmm. There are definitely like. So on the iconic line, when he tells the guy the first time around, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Did I fire 5 shots or 6 shots? You got to think to yourself right now, do I feel lucky? Yeah. Well, do you, punk? And the guy afterwards is like, I got to know. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's my problem with the movie, dude.
It is. It's like bad Robin Williams when he does a black guy from the 80s, like when he's on a talk show.
Yeah.
It was that. That's what he was doing. He was like, say, Jack. You watch that and you're like, oh. But then right behind that is more, and you're like, it's the 70s, man. Like, there was all kinds of films coming out.
Yeah,
it's part of the milieu of the 70s films. Like, they just had the liberty to do all kinds of weird ideas. I mean, this is kind of like a loose Zodiac.
Yes, of course. It's a Zodiac killer who is in the film that he's
which
chasing.
is real, but this is their like very kid gloves version of that.
Kind of a fantasy that they could actually catch him this time and actually kill him.
Shit. It's not even catch him. It's so the guy kills the girl on, and then he's out during the day one day, and he said he's going to kill one of 2 people coming up if you don't pay my ransom of $100,000, and it's a Catholic priest, or a black guy.
Yeah.
And that's not the word he uses. And the next time he's out, broad daylight, and he's on the roof, and a helicopter's just flying over the whole city, and they just happen to catch him like within 10 seconds of being up there. But at the same time, you don't care because at other points, like when he's got the bag of money later on, Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, and those guys come to confront him, that looks like a dude that just fended off 3 people. He knocks the one dude, pushes the other, pulls out the gun, and just like that wasn't some amazing jiu-jitsu 17 moves. That was a very believable, and then boom, and he's almost unstable as he shakes the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
When he pulls it out and points it at the guy.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I love it for all of that. Like just all the great moments, the moments that make me take a step back. Like I can't believe this is the choice, but at the same time, I can still watch it. I can watch it, at numerous points. I even like that the guy fakes police brutality.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea to pull in, and it was believable to them. So it takes him off the case kind of thing. And he's to follow him in his free time.
And also the scene in the stadium. That's a great scene.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great scene. And it's shot really well. Like both from a distance and close up. And I dig it. I dig it so much, and there are a lot of uncomfortable things in this movie going back and watching
a lot of them,
and through the whole series. Because I think someone released a thing where they did the statistics of how many African Americans and Latinos he kills as Dirty Harry or where Harry Callahan versus white people. So it's like it's pretty astronomical
in this movie,
in difference.
When he kills those 3 people, they cut to because he got shot, from the shotgun.
Yeah,
his doctor's black. And I wonder if that was a choice to offset, because he just killed 3 black guys who were robbing. Yeah. And just like, boom, we cut to, and I was like, I like it.
Right.
It shows that you had foresight of the fact of these, really? You're going to make all 3 of them? We can't have all ethnicities represented here? And considering the number of Asians and Latinos and whites that also live in that city?
Well, and how how multicultural that city actually was.
Exactly,
yeah, exactly. So.
Who knows? I don't know specifically where that was shot, but I'm sure it was less than a few blocks from Chinatown and from like these other, ethnic little epicenters within the city.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was my number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So then my number 3 is a pun from his $1 Million Baby.
Okay.
I love that movie, man.
It's
really
awesome.
do. Yeah.
His part isn't the focus to me. It is and it isn't, so that's why it's a little bit lower, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
I think because this is Eastwood in essence becoming this character now, this whole like, let me help everyone else.
Yeah.
Let me put him over, so to speak, to lack of to use a wrestling term, so to speak. And he is helping Hilary Swank. He's putting her over both as an actor and as the character in the film, pulling her over as a female boxer, right? So he's training her, he's getting her ready, he creates that go bra, whatever it is whatever he does, he creates for her. But he is guiding her into this world. He is saving her from this thing. And once again, reluctant hero, right? Because he's like, I don't want to train you. You're a woman. I don't want to get involved.
But she also has the drive and determination to not take no, and he has to respect that ultimately because she got the respect of the other people around him.
Exactly.
And they forced him to notice, hey, she's putting in the work.
Right.
So if she's putting in the work, then you have to put in the work.
And at the time this film came out, it was, in essence, almost the beginning of female boxing, coming into the pop culture zeitgeist, like the understanding that this was a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Layla Ali was maybe a year after this, and where she blew up as a boxer and all the kind of stuff. So you had this happening, and so to have Hilary Swank come in and play this part and do what she did, and then have Eastwood train her, I really liked him in this film because once he gives in, he really commits, and the vulnerability of
without
him,
a doubt,
like the scene where they're having the pie, and then later the scene where she breaks her neck, and he had like that, dude. Heartbreaking, man, fucking heartbreaking.
And then her
dude.
family.
Yes, and her family.
Oh my God, you just want to throttle each one of them. Just put both your hands around their neck and just like, Homer on Bart style on The Simpsons. Just absolutely. Like, oh, you people are so. I've never. Thank God my family isn't toxic like that, where they're so centered on themselves. Like how did this family exist? How do they survive to this? Are they just all rats and scavengers, and she's the only one that isn't?
Yeah, it seems like.
Like genetically, how have they passed on their genes if this is the traits they've passed on? Because eventually, as a society, we'd be like, no, that person is horrible.
Exactly.
I don't want to spend any time with them.
Right.
It's just disgusting.
But I think in another Eastwood film, he'd stand up to him. But the fact that he doesn't, his character doesn't, he lets her do, and she tells him.
He knows it's not his battle.
Well, but she tells him too because he wants to. Because he says, well, maybe when you were in Disney World or Disneyland, you forgot to come by. So he makes a couple of cracks at their expense, and then she tells him to get out of the room. I've never seen that in an Eastwood movie. And so for me, that was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. He understands the character. It's not about Clint Eastwood, the movie star. It's about the service of the movie and the character. Yeah. So that to me really moves me. And in the end, it's him that lives, and it's him that like has the pie by himself. She redeems him. And that's the great twist about the film, is that she thinks he's going to redeem her, but in essence, she redeems him, reacquaints himself with his daughter, and all this kind of stuff. Like,
it gives him a spark of life that he had lost.
Yes.
So because unfortunately she has to fade out, it pushes him to actually live.
Yeah.
Whereas he was resigned to, I'm going to stay in my bubble and I do what I do and this is my life.
Right.
And had been set in his ways. And the fact that he opened up and experienced something that made him grow.
Yep.
Thereafter, he's a better person. So that's like when he eats that pie, it's like that's growth. You're watching him grow as he does that because he's accepting and is also like moving forward, but not shutting off.
Yeah, and the pie is symbolic because pie is a dessert. It's a treat.
It is.
He is tasting life again.
And she was a treat.
Yeah, exactly.
She was a joy in his life.
Yep.
And you know what? Honor that.
Yep.
Remember it, respect it, and carry that with you because that's all you that's the only thing that's keeping her alive on some level.
Right.
Is the memory that you carry with you.
Yeah, and I think that's what's deceptive about the film. It feels like it's about Hilary Swank, but it's really about him too. And I think that equally. And so both of them have the journey that they go on, and both of them are lost in a way, and both of them find their strength with each other because she hadn't had it. She needed a father figure because her mom was such a waste and her family was such a waste. She was desperate for this father figure, found it in him, worked her ass off to get his respect, and then he came to her and wanted to train, and took pride and saw the daughter that he was missing from his life because of what had happened in their relationship. And so everything it comes full circle, which I really enjoy. So there we go. So now let's talk about our two favorite movies.
And we already know the order.
Hopefully
do we
in
not?
order. Hopefully in order. Okay.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, me too. Number two. Absolutely.
I knew it was cemented for us as soon as I wrote those down. I was like, top of the list is done. We don't have to fight over that.
True.
The rest of it is going to be a fight, but
this is going to be a hassle. Yes.
Yeah.
Haggle rather. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
a 3-hour Western.
It's so
Matt
good.
knows. It's
so
unheard
good.
of.
Like the weird thing is, the movie. If you were just ostensively looking at it, you know what I mean, taking a macro lens and looking at the entire landscape of the film, if you wanted to, you could cut out. There's like a 25-minute chunk that does not hurt the overall arc of the story, and it just progresses the actual storyline that you're paying attention to. They take a detour for a little while.
Right.
And at the same time, I love it every time. I don't, perfect. That's how I know this movie is amazing to me. It's just like you could keep telling the story as these people wander in and out of random battles that have nothing to do with anything except somehow they're just walking through like hell to get to this ultimate, amazing, cinematic, just gorgeous final scene.
Yeah.
Just when I think Western, this movie has so many of the hallmarks of, you know what a good Western has? And this one has 3 amazing characters, too.
Yeah.
Amazing. They're all unique and individual and so transfixing on their own that they could all have individual movies if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
You could split them off and tell each individual story, like an origin story or something like that. Yeah. And every frame is just so gorgeous. The way it's shot, the music. I mean, it's just perfection when you watch it. It is a perfect Western.
I don't think Leone ever came close to being this good again with any film.
What director has in a Western?
Exactly, and it's an epic Western. Like we've talked about we've done our epics, and it's not one that creeps in there. But I think now in retrospect,
maybe it should.
It should because
That's such a broad category.
Yeah,
though.
well, true. But I think if you look at Long West, like How the West Was Won, these are like massively long stories.
Yeah,
this is not. This is very much 3 people.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
going through. So it's a small story within a huge landscape, but you never go to another story. It's the 3 of them.
Well, the thing is, though,
and that's what's incredible.
It's the truest on some level to real life because we're all the center of our own universe.
Yes.
So by limiting it to 3 people doing basically one thing, they're all striving for one thing. Yeah. So it's not like, say Love Actually, and it's like 27 storylines.
Right.
They occasionally intertline
like
and tell this
films.
Overall, like a cross section of humanity. No, this is basically what you would encounter in your life. Of we're all interacting and we're heading towards this ultimately, and that's what it's like. Such a more intimate, what you said, within a broad landscape.
Yeah.
Which out in the West, that's what everything is. It's just wide open spaces, and it's you and a couple people.
And you go to so many different places. Like you go to the towns, you explore the Civil War, like the pain and the sadness of the Civil War. You see it, and like that whole scene where that guy is crying as he's playing the song because they're trying to drown out the sounds of Eli Wallach getting beat up by Lee Van Cleef. And it's because that guy is crying because he's played that song many times for the people who've been beat up by this man and done terrible things and heard the screams and cries of these men as they're being hurt and damaged by this person. And so out of nowhere in this Western, you have this like incredible sadness and heart and darkness and all this stuff. And then you have playful joy. You have cute little interactions like Blondie like saying the stuff like when he whispers into and Eli Wallach all of a sudden changing, "Don't die, my best friend. You're my best friend." All of that stuff.
Oh. The revolver scene early on.
Oh my God! Yes, the revolver scene.
It's like it's so playful, yet menacing at the same time. Like he's got this little twinkle in his eye where you want to trust him, even though you know he's a snake.
Yeah,
it's an amazing. Like it's such a tough acting job when you're watching that. Just like how do you play a charismatic slime ball?
Right.
That convincingly.
Yeah.
And then when you see him in other things, like he sometimes has that, sometimes doesn't. Right. But it's probably one of those things of like a lot of times like the worst villains on screen, they say those actors are the nicest people. They can just channel. They know what that type of individual is, and it becomes a stereotype in their head to some degree. And then when they're off screen, just like, no, that is one of the nicest people. It's crazy.
And it's insane because Eli Wallach is a New York white Jew.
Yeah.
And here he is playing this Mexican. And he said when he was doing a Magnificent Seven that they made him an honorary Mexican. The people who were working with him who were Mexicans in the film. They said they made him an honorary Mexican because he's so believable in this part. And it's just as believable in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And with his character, he's the one guy that the story redeems in a way because when he goes back to see his brother and he's doing the things his brother thinks he can judge him from on high as a man of religion, and he says to him, "I'm the one that stayed. You went off in seminary and you became all this kind of shit. I took care of our parents while they were dying, and you're off there praising God and being on these." And it's like,
exactly. Where was your God?
Where was your God?
Where was your God?
Yeah, man. So you don't just one note this guy as some kind of opportunistic fool.
He could have been
more to it.
One of the compatriots from Speedy Gonzales.
Sure.
Well, I'm just saying, like that type of stereotype, because
that's what you're saying. Yes.
In cinema on some level. I mean, obviously that was 20 years before.
Sure.
But if you wanted to, that was still in the cards.
Right.
And instead it's just like, no, listen, Clint's lived and so have numerous other people, but I mean, it's a lot of Italian actors and stuff like that.
Sure,
but
sure.
lived in California where I've known a lot of Mexican, people. None of them act like that. Nobody is it's me, like that over the top. It's just like, no. If you're going to do that,
really
then
good,
show me
brother.
the white guy. Oh, it's one of the easiest characters to replicate. That's me. I got a buddy that does VO on all kinds of stuff.
Oh shit!
He started out as a comic, but he would do voices on stage and be like, "Man, you got to get into VO, because you can pull a character out of your butt just with your voice, and it's impressive every time." Now that's what he does. He's done stuff for DC and for Simpsons and for
Holy shit.
like 20 other things. And every time I see him, like we go see basketball games every once in a once in a blue moon now, but. He could break into that one. You're like, it was like watching the cartoon out of nowhere. But it's such like a over the top.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah.
You gave me a richer overall story experience because you made the character honest.
Right. Well, and I think, and this is what's so, like I was saying before, with this idea of the character that Eli Wallach plays. On one side, you have Clint Eastwood, Blondie. There is no backstory. There's no flashback. There's no nothing of that. Blondie is who he is. Like chill, doing his thing with a smirk on his face. Lee Van Cleef is pure fucking evil. There's no backstory to understand why he became evil.
Nope.
The only person you get a backstory with is Eli Wallach's character, the ugly guy, because he is the linchpin between the two. And that relationship with him and Eastwood is so like a buddy cop type thing, but also, it's not quite 100% friendship.
Well, because the ugly within this is life.
Yes.
So there is no altruistic, like pure good, and there is no pure evil.
Yeah.
We are Eli. We are in the middle.
Great point.
So that's why sometimes they're buddy-buddy and other times it's not.
Yeah.
We as, living can never be perfect at all times.
Right.
We just can't. We're never going to succeed 100%, no matter what. Like, even if you're doing the right thing, the person on the other side of that thinks it's the wrong thing.
Right.
So there is no real altruistic stance.
Yeah.
So I think that's why maybe he gets the redemption is because it's something for us like, hey, you can still do what you can.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
But he still doesn't end up with the goal, which I love. I mean, him yelling.
He's still true to himself.
Yes, and him yelling in Spanish, "You son of a bitch," as hijo de puta, as it's ending, and you hear the iconic as
Just
it's great.
the best.
Morricone score, which is fantastic.
The
So,
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morricone, man. I mean, when he is going, it's amazing that guy didn't have like 20, 30, 40 movies coming out a year.
Yeah.
To get him. Because you could see that type of thing in now today, like numerous different types of movies. Like
course.
a Tarantino-esque crime.
Yeah.
Or there's the possibilities. I could see Spielberg finding or Scorsese finding something. I just love that. Anytime where you can feel the personality of the composer and it actually helps the movie. And sometimes when you know going into it, you're like, oh, they got so-and-so.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how he pulls off what I'm assuming there's going to be like this type of scene. And I love it when he does X,
man.
Y, and Z, man.
Agreed. All right, so then our number one film, it is Unforgiven.
It's the only choice.
Yeah.
It's the only choice.
Best Picture, 1992.
My favorite Western.
Coming back to a Western after quite some time. Wow.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
It's a deconstruction of every Western.
Yep.
It's the tropes that you've all grown accustomed to seeing that Clint has played numerous times and different angles of the same thing and other, like, as you saw, like with High Plains Drifter to whatever. You've seen him do all the other things, and now to see him play, okay, if the West was really this type of area where these things could happen, well, there's collateral damage in that whoever lived through that should be broken.
Yeah.
Should be wallowing in self-hatred and isolation and whatnot. And then he happened to find a woman.
Yep.
And they had kids. He fell in love. He didn't think that was going to happen. And I love that that's the prologue.
Yeah.
That's just the lead up to, and you're like, what a great, like you're already from the jump. I understand everything about this character and would just jump right into, and he held on to the rights to it for like 10 years because he knew he needed to be older to play the part.
Yep.
Like all the choices, it's so good.
And I think that's a great way to explain that, Matt, because we never see her.
No.
No one talks about her except him.
It's better that she's an idealistic fantasy.
Exactly. And and you see his performance convey that by the fact that he is so like kind of meek at times. He's pushed around at times.
Mm-hmm.
He takes this job out of desperation because the hogs are getting diseased. He has 2 kids to feed. There's stuff he has to do. And, he recruits his friend Morgan Freeman to help him. And once again, Sally Two Trees doesn't say a word to him, but he can tell her consternation about it.
Yeah, she knows.
She knows what could happen to him.
She knows that money is nothing but bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you got loyalty and love for the guy.
Yeah.
But I know he is bad news.
Right.
And this is a stupid decision that you're making, but I can't stop you.
And in a way, Eastwood from the beginning is in desperate straits, right? And this is a guy that where people talk about, he killed this. No one wants to, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I think that's so smart because that establishes the fact that she had changed him that much, that he had become this other person because he loved her so much and wanted to, build a life with her and raise the kids. And yes, he'd done terrible things, but he'd also let that go because she had been his salvation.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he'd done the terrible things. And most of the time, like he says in the movie, he was drunk. He doesn't remember anything. Doesn't remember what he did because he would go
and he's not
angry
asking
drunk.
forgiveness.
No, he never does.
Either.
He never does.
That's such a great choice for the character.
Yeah.
It's not like he's doing this as some sort of salvation within himself.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically a job, and he can side with the morality, but that's
right.
That's part of the motivating rationale. But what would you say that is? 20%?
Yeah.
30% max? Like it's the money, and it's going out, and he thinks it's just going to be basically you cut up a whore's face.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to come basically a pound of flesh for a pound of flesh.
Right. But then you have all this other stuff that happens around it, obviously with Gene Hackman and Richard Harris, Little Bill, right, Sheriff Little Bill, and the Duck of Death or the Duke of Death, and Saul Rubinek playing the writer, and you have all of these other kind of smaller storylines, and Frances Fisher playing, who at the time was, I think, either married or was a longtime girlfriend of Clint Eastwood, the redhead in charge of the brothel.
Yeah, the madam.
The madam, right, and you see all that happening throughout. And then you see this journey that Eastwood is on, the character Will Money is on. He gets sick, and he gets beat up by Little Bill, really badly. So much that he's on the brink of death, and then he climbs out of it. And it's that kind of thing. And I think it's symbolic. It's not just surviving the sickness, the illness or whatever. The illness is who he was before. He had to come out of it and embrace who he had been before without losing the new person he had become now, because he was still good to the kid, he was still good to Ned, still good to the women there, the whores or whatever you want to say, but he meted out the justice as it should have been, because as soon as Ned dies, he goes to a whole nother level, man.
Well, there's nothing holding him back at that point.
Yep.
He's resigned to the fate of, if I have to die, I have to die.
Yeah.
And
he starts drinking, which he hadn't done, he starts drinking with a purpose.
He knows that he needs to go to a dark place, and alcohol is the quickest way to that dark place.
Right.
And that is such an accurate thing.
True.
Because if you, if you drank to absolve yourself, to bury away the sin.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't take care of the sin.
No.
And you can only confront that. You can't just keep hiding from it. And plus, you drink enough, man. It's for an active drinker, when you're drinking a ton, part of the reason that they're so depressive and all that is because the alcohol helps secrete a bunch of different hormones and whatnot that make you happy. And after a while, it can only make so much of that stuff, and it has less and less. So it dips, and you get less of that over time. So if you want to get to a dark place, you can just deplete your brain of those chemicals. And trust me, you are depressed and wallowing around in your own self-pity. And to do what he needed to forget, basically what he did before, to have to make that mental turn and go down that dark road, wow, what a choice. And I love the setup earlier on where with the Duke, the Duck of Death, the idea that there's these gunslingers that were in the West trying to make a name for themselves, and they made a small one, and now, or maybe he paid this reporter to show up and write this story, and then when he goes away, he latches on to Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman knows the game just like the Duke did, and I got to spin a yarn so that the ultimate payoff at the end, which is a scene we both love, when he's like, did you choose him because he's such a good gun, and he's like, nope. he was the first basically I saw, and then that guy popped over, and if he shot across there, he just missed me, and then I killed him. And
I've always been lucky in the order, I guess.
just the randomness of life. There is no calculation after a while.
Right. And once again, like you said at the beginning of this discussion of this particular film, it's the deconstruction of the legend. And that's what that writer represents, is creating the legend.
Yeah.
And what these guys all do in a certain way is deconstruct the legend. Little Bill does, Richard Harris does, and so does Eastwood in their portrayal of their characters.
Yeah.
Eastwood in more verbally, because he is a fucking badass to write legend stuff about. But Little Bill is more of an opportunist, and Richard Harris is more of a slimy son of a bitch who shoots people. Remember, he says, should I turn around so you shoot me in the back? Right? And you see him, like, when he sees Chinese people, when he's riding back, he, like, does the shooting thing. So, he's a despicable son of a bitch who takes the easy jobs to kill people easily rather than the difficult jobs, which is why that moment when Hackman is handing him a gun in the prison with the chance that he could get out of this situation, he doesn't take the gun because he doesn't trust that he could win the battle. The battle with him, and because he's not used to doing that. And so he'd been living through the legends of what Rubinek was writing and what was actually.
I love that Little Bill is a Wild Bill / like Wyatt Earpish type of small town sheriff that somehow made a name for themselves.
Yeah.
And like the idea of this was somebody that could have and failed. Like they saw the game plan somewhere else. And they're like, oh, Ryder could help raise my stock and whatever else and make me this almost mythical, character.
Right.
And just that, where we go from the small-time crook that's doing it to the sheriff that now realizes, and then ultimately the destruction of that, like, all that is bullshit.
Right.
All of it. Everything you've seen in movies and Westerns is bullshit.
Because I love that line. He says, what does he say? He says, I can't tell you who's going to be next, but I can tell you who's going to be last. Yeah. And he points the gun at him, so he runs out of there. And then says all the terrible shit that he says at the end as he walks. And that's what's amazing. He has earned so much credit with us throughout the whole movie that when he says this terrible shit about, like, if anybody does anything or says anything, I'll shoot you, I'll kill your family, I'll burn your house to the ground, I'll kill your relatives. Like, it's terrible things to say to these people. But because he's earned so much credit with us, we know he's saying it from a place of stopping these people from coming after him, not from a place of when he's actually going to do it. Yeah. And I think that's what redeems. And then you get the beautiful song, and then the crawl that comes up,
just right up
about the mother of the wife coming in, and like they could not tell her why she had chosen this man to be her husband. It's fucking great, right? And in a way, they create a legend by deconstructing the legend. They create a new legend, and that's awesome.
Of the everyday real hero.
Yep.
Hypothetically in the West, like, I can't even imagine having grown up in that time.
Dude,
I've read so many books and like I've fantasized about it, but at the same time, I want no part of it in reality.
Nope.
Like just Outhouse alone.
Yeah.
And you're lucky sometimes if Outhouse is your best option.
Right. It's true.
Yeah.
And then like you're not showering every day.
No.
You're not brushing your teeth every day. If you have anything to brush your teeth, you're not doing that every day. It's a terrible existence. And how are you living your life? It depends on the crops that come in. It depends on if people are enough come into town.
Or if you're running cattle through that area, or if the train comes through and this is somehow a stop, or there's a mine somewhere else, because it's also desolate. Like there's not a tremendous amount of life. There aren't huge forests and whatnot in the westerns of of
physical
cinema
therapy to help you get over things. It's like it's a whole thing.
Exactly, like everything. It's just this harsh reality.
And you get shot randomly at any moment just sitting in a bar.
Yeah, supposedly.
Because you look a certain way or do something on accident or bump into somebody at the wrong time. Yeah, you never know.
Because unless the law is specifically around, you can just waltz right out of town. Like nobody's going to stop you.
Exactly.
Because they're all running from somewhere else.
Exactly.
That's why they ended up here. They don't want to start any trouble. That's it. They left all trouble.
That's right. I don't want to start any trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our separate lists. And now we're going to compile, as we do every episode, compile our group or the top 10 list of the Clint Eastwood movies. Obviously, Unforgiven, The Good, Bad, The Ugly are 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Now, I have $1 Million Baby at 3. What do you have at 3?
I got Dirty Harry.
All right, that's my number 9. What is $1 Million Baby for you?
7.
All right. I feel like that.
Are you banging or my? That's the question. Who's writing here? I think.
Do you remember? What was our last one? Christmas movies?
Yeah. I don't remember.
I think I banged for that one. Do you remember?
No. But okay. You write them down. I'll bang this time. It's not like we don't have another one to do anyway, so
No, I'm just saying.
we're trading off. It doesn't matter. Somebody
Are you
else,
sure?
You people out there keep count. Let's see how often we get this right.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I
like it's hilarious to me if we can get it. If we don't get it right, like it. Let's take a look. Let's get it right, Matt. Let's get it right. 'Cause
Really,
this is our show.
I do not, because I imagine we've messed it up in the past.
Well, I don't care. I want to get it right.
All right,
What's
you
our
do
rush?
that. Well, because you're the one writing, and now you're looking up something. He's actually playing it.
Okay.
Here we go. Are we at the end yet? I wonder if they can even hear that. This is very meta to listen to the old podcast on this week's podcast. And come on. Where are we at? Come on.
Why are we not banging?
I don't know. I don't know where you're at in this. You're the one that's
Way near
staring
the
at
end,
this.
and I still haven't heard banging.
Listen, because we're blowhards, and we just talk and talk and talk, and then we actually get back to the task at hand.
This
You're
is
never going
terrible.
to find it.
I'm never going to find it.
Just stop. I will bang, and you can read the list. Dude, you're never going to find it. I love that you still
Here
have
we go.
this.
So,
Okay, so it's your turn to
it's
bang.
my
then.
turn to bang.
That only took 45 seconds. Listen, I hope that was worth it for you guys. Happy day after Christmas and week after Hanukkah, and
I wanted to get it right. So who's writing, you or me?
I am writing.
Okay,
You're
great.
banging, and
Perfect.
I am.
So $1 Million Baby at 3,
Yeah.
and then the Dirty Harry at 4.
Yep.
Okay. What do you have next?
Let me catch up to you.
Sure.
Then I have Fistful of Dollars.
That's my number 8. I have in the Line of Fire.
That's my number 8.
Okay, so since I got this last one, you
All right. That's fine. Fistful of Dollars, and then In the Line of Fire.
yes. Where are we at?
We are at number 7.
Ooh, all right. I have Outlaw Josey Wales next. What do you have?
I got Josey at 9. I got a movie you don't have, which is for a few dollars more.
So we should put Outlaw since we both
Yeah,
have
we
it,
do.
right?
We should. Sorry, rather.
No. That's 8. All right.
That's 7.
I'm sorry. That's 7. So
Number 8,
do we have any other common ones?
don't believe so, no.
Okay, so I have left Heartbreak Ridge.
At what number?
A 6.
Okay, so my 5 then is for a few dollars more, so give
Okay.
me that at 8 then.
Okay.
Then you want what next?
Heartbreak Ridge.
All right, and then I'll take Escape from Alcatraz,
Wait, you get the next one? Why is that?
because we don't have any other commonality.
Why do you get the next choice, though? Why don't I get the next choice?
Because you got 1, 2, and 3 of your list as 1, 2,
You
and 3
got
on our
1,
list.
2. You got 1 and 2.
Doesn't matter. Look, a fact is a fact. You did get 1, 2, and 3
That's some bullshit.
to start the list.
This is some bullshit, man.
And I'm just saying,
So Gran Torino's not going to make the list?
I don't even have it on my. What number do you have? I got Escape at 6.
I have Fuck.
Where you got Gran Torino?
7.
Boom shakalaka.
And Pale Rider at 10.
Yeah, I got High Plains Drifter, which you don't have either at 10. So those two are off, unfortunately.
Fine. This is some bullshit. But
That is
Merry
not some
Christmas.
bullshit.
Merry Christmas, Matt. Here's your gift. God damn it. All right, fine.
Just don't poop in my stocking. That's all I care about.
So I'm banging?
You're banging.
Okay, all right. Son of a bitch. I don't know where. Here, I'll use the table here. Make sure we don't break it.
Let me move this just in case, and I'll move that. Go crazy.
Okay.
Hopefully, I didn't mess up the audio too much. I can't imagine it did.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be good.
Ad number 10.
Escape from Alcatraz.
Ad number 9.
Heartbreak Ridge.
Ad number 8.
For a few dollars more.
Ad number 7.
The Outlaw Josey Wales.
Ad number 6.
In the Line of Fire.
Starting out our top 5. At number 5.
A Fistful of Dollars.
Numero 4.
Dirty Harry.
Ad number 3.
$1 Million Baby.
Ad number 2.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Sounds like my life story. All right, and the number 1 Clint Eastwood movie is
Unforgiven.
There it is. There's a good list. By the way, I forgot the falsetto. So the top 10 Clint Eastwood movies. There it is. Good list. A lot of good movies on there. A lot of movies that we probably left off. A lot of good movies too, like that kind of were close to being on our list. Some honorable mentions, I think, are there as well. Hang 'em High is a good damn movie, you know.
Yeah, and I'm sure if certain people, if they saw Any Which Way But Loose when they were really little or something, it's just you know what, I got a soft spot in my heart for that. I didn't see that until I was older. I'm like, yeah, no.
That's a no from me, dog.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a no from me, dog. But at the same time, it's one of those I recognize. If I was young enough, the charm of just quite simply having, an orangutan.
Yes.
In a movie, to me, would have been captivating.
Clyde, yeah.
In 6 or 7 or something.
Of course.
So there are a few on there and be if I was the right age, I would have absolutely adored that.
Sure. Well, speaking of someone else's lists or movies that might have been, should we read Drew's?
So how did his list stack up against ours?
Okay, well, 1, 2 are the same.
Good man.
Yeah.
All right, then the rest of your list is fine, wherever it lands.
I'm very proud of it. Should I go 10 to 3 or 3 to 10? What do you want to do?
Well, you already given us 1, 2. Give us 3.
Okay,
Let's go from there.
3 is Perfect World.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see that more as a Costner film, but I respect it being on his list.
Gabe had that on, didn't you? Wasn't that the one on the Chase film? Or not Chase, but
yes.
Shoot, what was the name of that episode?
Yeah. Was this your nephew?
Road Trip. Yeah.
Road Trip movies.
Gabe
That's right.
knows. And that was one of those of, wow, I haven't thought about that movie. I remember him, Costner, walking through the wheat field.
Yes.
That's what sticks out.
And Costner plays a villain, which he rarely does.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, number 4 was $1 Million Baby.
Sure.
Number 5 was The Outlaw Josey Wales.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Number 6, Bridges of Madison County.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I respect that choice.
Yeah, good for you.
For some people, this film is actually a really sweet romance between him and Meryl Streep.
Well,
so
I am in the category of some people in that statement.
That do think it's a sweet romance or
Oh,
don't?
I'm sorry. That did not. I thought you were going the other way.
No,
I just turned off, and I'm like, yeah, I'm one of those others. That's where I thought you were going with that.
All right, number 7, as he smartly has Gran Torino on his list. Number 8, Sudden Impact. So of the Dirty Harry movies, that's the one he likes. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Number 9, Pale Rider. Little love for Pale Rider.
Sure.
And number 10, Where Eagles Dare, that World War II movie.
I know I've seen it.
Yeah,
but at the same
I
time,
have.
I can't tell you anything about it.
Exactly. I know that. I just remember him wearing Nazi uniform undercover.
I was so young.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on TV one day or something that Saturday. I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
But it's it sparks no memory. It's almost like Pale Rider.
Yeah.
Just yeah, I know I've seen it, but it's been forever.
Well, and I think for me, this is a World War II film. Kelly's Heroes was really, really, really close to being at 10 or 9 on my list.
Okay.
So close. It's a 3-hour World War II film, which is insane, but it's an enjoyable film and with a lot of twists and a great, huge cast. I mean, Don Rickles is in there as a World War II soldier, which is insane. Donald Sutherland doing his hippie thing in World War II, which is so weird, but it was kind of an anachronistic World War II film, but I still enjoy the hell out of that thing. What a great list. Thank you, Drew, for suggesting the topic. I hope we did you proud with the choices we had on our list.
Well, it doesn't sound like it because his list had 3 entries we didn't have.
Yeah, 3 or 4, I think.
3 or 4,
yeah. So
I would say
but I like that.
Yeah, no,
variety is good. Spice of life.
Exactly. There's some choices in there. Just okay, I'd like to hear your love of this.
Right.
Maybe I haven't seen it through a different perspective, and that would change my perception of oh, okay.
Yeah.
If I go into it, I did with you with In the Line of Fire. In the Line of Fire.
Yes.
Just if you skew it through a different prism, I just view the optics differently.
Yeah,
I just reset the same thing 3 straight times.
You really did, but you got there. And that's
eventually to the same conclusion I'd already drawn.
And Drew wants to give a social media shout out for himself at Drew Enns, DREWENSZ. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, follow him at Drew Enns. We take no responsibility for his opinions, his points of views. If they are way out there, we take no responsibility, but we have said we will promote social media for the people who choose the topic. So I just want to say that.
I like that
the top 10 does not condone anything that Drew says on his Twitter, but we give him a shout out.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know what you were basically indemnifying us from.
No, it just,
Yeah, until you got to the very end there and be like, I understand entirely now. That was smart, yeah.
But
at the same time, if he listens to us, what are the real chances? You know what I mean?
That's
We
true.
got good listeners.
That's
We
true.
do. They're
We
all,
do. You're
for the
right.
most part, even
You're
when they
right.
disagree, they keep it respectful for the,
Yeah.
what we talked about last week with the one asshole.
Yeah.
But that's such an anomaly. Everybody else is, even when they disagree, it ultimately resolves at like, well, I can't, it's your opinion and
Yeah.
it's not incorrect. It's just, it
No, you're
doesn't
right.
jive with mine.
You're right. I just, I think
Yeah.
we're getting bigger, and I think it's not an issue to indemnify ourselves just in case.
No.
Yeah.
You were wise to do it.
I just
I just at first I was like, wow, you're really? Oh, okay.
got it.
That was
Got
very
it.
smart. It was very smart.
So there we go. But thanks so much, Drew, for that list, like we said, and for being a patron.
Yeah,
And-
to the boss hoggers, we are getting to you.
yeah.
There are just certain weeks where just like, listen, we know we have to do this.
Yeah.
Like with Star Wars, we know we have to do a Star Wars this week. So unless you want to call that one out, like
Yeah.
look at the upcoming list. Like January's pretty dead. I think we might end up using one or maybe two. I don't know.
Sure.
Other Patreon ones in January.
Absolutely.
And I think I might have the one guest we talked about lined up for one of those potentials.
Great. Awesome.
They said they were into it, and that is as ambiguous as I can get.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so we are getting you, and Boss Hog, we're going to add you to Thunderdome
Yes.
going forward. A few people that messaged and said, why am I not? And just
Yeah.
like, I couldn't make a good case in my head.
Which makes sense because Boss Hog want to be part of everything.
They do.
Just
They're our
like-
biggest
yeah,
supporters.
that's
Why were
right.
we denying them entry to the other one aspect of it? that
We
they
were
could
making
be-
them Roscoe P.
Yeah, it
Coltrane,
didn't make
and they
sense.
want to be Boss Hog. I get it.
Yeah. And so also we should have announced at the top, but we're going to do our Patreon shout-outs since this is the last of the month.
Yes.
Here are your Patreon shout-outs.
Okay.
For everybody that donated $5 and above.
Yeah.
So John and I are now going to go through this list.
Yeah.
And even though we mispronounced a bunch of them last month, and some of you corrected us,
Yeah.
I'm sure we will potentially mispronounce once again. We will try and do our best.
Okay. Should I start or you just start?
Go right ahead.
All right. Starting at the Boss Hog level, November 2017, right? That's what we're looking at?
That is what we're looking at.
Mike Barrington,
Dylan Steiner,
Camilo Gutierrez,
Anthony Casanova.
Drew Entz, who gave us the list for
That's
today.
right. Matthew Jasso,
Oh, big commenter.
supporter.
Yeah. Andrew Hayes,
Robert Haley.
Claiborne Williams.
Oh, our boy.
Yes.
Our boy.
Yes.
Christos Alexakos.
Alexakos.
Chris Alexakos, thank you so much for everything you do. You shouldn't really be supporting us, man, because you do so much for us. It's amazing.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I know. I appreciate because
Stop it.
he tried to pay for us to have this a long time ago on his own.
Yes.
I get it, but
he
at the
still
same
wants
time,
us to have an NBA podcast.
Yeah, I know, but he puts in so much work for us, and that means the world to both of us.
That's right.
So anyway,
Philip Renshaw,
Wiley Todd,
Rachel Silvestrini,
Jake Higgins,
Joey Anthony,
Ellis Menchaca,
S. Naughton.
Keaton Reese.
Keaton Reese finally
Got back to us.
Yeah, that's a good job. Andrew Marker,
Brian Saferni,
right? Lindsay Toll,
Brett Yo,
Matthew Picardat.
Deborah Torres.
Deborah Torres using our logo, our top 10.
Oh, she is in
our
the tiny
Top
little
Gun top
avatar
10
there.
logo.
Yeah,
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Joey Peter.
Tom Costolny,
That's a good one. I like that. Gulick Granerud.
Ed Buzzkirk,
Laura Diverson.
Rosa Parra. Thank you
Yeah,
very
Rosa.
much.
Neil Blackie.
Do you think that's Niall?
No, I'm sorry, Niall Blackie.
I'm just floating it. I'm not correcting.
No, it could be either way. I'm cool.
Brian King.
Oh, got an easy one, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Simon Brouillard. I hope
Oh,
I got
that's a
that
good
right.
one. Now, how would you could say Lawrence, but there's no W. It's Laurence.
Lawrence?
Lawrence?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Oh, the lovely Kristen Smith.
Thank you, Kristen, for
yes.
everything you do, too.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, she has corrected us. Let me see if
Okay.
I get it. Trine. I am going to say Trine Mogard.
Oh,
I got that wrong, but okay.
all right. Not Trinae Mogard?
Maybe Trine Mogard.
Okay. Either way, we got it. I think.
Mogard.
Ryan M. Brandos.
Chris Jones.
David Mitchell Baker.
Jack Von Ord.
Stephen French.
Marcel Behrman. Behrman.
My lady, Aaliyah Moore.
Oh, yeah.
Lady Outlaw.
Carlos Cortez.
Robert Cooper.
Matthew Thompson.
Just Chris.
Chris Gohans J. 2005.
Yeah.
Nicholas Smith.
Fraser Job.
Matthew Hall.
Alejandra Padilla.
Jason Taylor.
Jay Watson.
Seth Shearer.
Seamus Braytag.
Jack Gradis.
Ryan Clark.
Matthew Lee Craven.
John Holloway.
Cooper Jones.
Katie Seven.
Eric Barrios.
Matt Yund. Is that correct? I think he corrected us.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Joseph, is that Burt Whistle? Or Burt Whistle?
Yeah, I think Burt Whistle.
Burt Whistle. Joseph Burt Whistle.
Yes. Giancarlo Simonetta.
Andy Ortiz.
Jim Payne.
Ure Mugerli.
Nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Sean Brennan.
John Keefe.
Luke Riley.
All right. I am going to get this wrong.
Strap in, son.
But I am going to try my very hardest.
Yes.
Thuzanth.
Yes.
Something-Rallingam.
Okay.
Something-Rallingam.
If you say so.
Thuzanth. Something-Rallingam.
Yeah. Good
That's
name.
the best I could do.
I like it. It's a
Tell me how
powerful
close
name.
I got. Something-Rallingam. It's
was pretty good.
Yeah. It's, all right.
I think getting it in your mouth there.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister for a Westerner like myself.
It really is. Jeff Saliba.
Ian Morgan.
Julian Key.
Dan Nye.
Hey, Dan.
Old Danny.
Jose de la Torre.
Greg Paust.
The Cinephiles. Steve, thank you so much.
So much.
Very kind of you.
Josh James.
Ricky Rivers.
Gordon Rustling.
Colin Murray.
Jeff Pitas.
Tyler Spots.
Patrick Campbell.
Hey, PJ. Oh, Francisco Ramirez Burgos.
Bar Samrich.
Yes, Thomas Price.
Mike Austin.
Alexander Marsonia.
All right. It just says NA, but it says Nicole A on the email address. You know who you are. Thank you so much.
Yes. Sammy Al-Sahaiti. I think so. Yes? Al-Sahaiti?
Al-Sahati.
Al-Sahati. Sammy
Something like
Al-Sahati, yeah.
Jose Gorko Valentin.
Yes. Luke Larson.
Nathan Williams. And there
it
you
is.
go.
That's all of them.
There you go.
A lot of people. Thank you so much.
So many people. Thank you to all of you. And thank you also for everything you've done for us, all the support you've given us on Facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10. It's awesome, man. Now when you log on there, because there's so many people starting discussions, that I'll check in. I'll get tagged in things I hadn't seen because there's now been 5, 6, 7, 8 other posts that I've seen some with like 120, 140 comments, and people are just going back and forth and back and forth. Mm-hmm. Sometimes just checking in and being like, hey, someone will ask a general question. Other times the question will spark a huge discussion, and there's just opinions being lobbied about. Yeah. It's really interesting. And one of our guys is a cop, and they started a movie talk show on their own.
Oh, great.
As like outreach with the community.
Yeah.
To try and like foster. And he posted, he's like, I don't want to self-promote. And I was like, you know what, man? That's awesome.
That's fucking
Hopefully
great.
that's great for your community, and that works out. It's called PEN.
Yeah.
That's the acronym.
You're not self-serving. You're serving the community.
You
There's a
are.
difference.
I understand you. Like you feel like, oh, I'm promoting on your page. You're not. You're helping us just basically treat everybody else the same way. Like there's commonality within all of us. Yeah. My only suggestion is calling it PEN probably isn't the smartest thing because you're subconsciously indicating. You still have the upper hand at all times, kind of in this discussion. That's the only thing. It's separated, in an acronym, PEN.
Yeah.
It's like police, entertainment network or something like that. They're trying to have some sort of like whatever else, but maybe change the acronym is the only thing I thought in my head. I didn't put it on the comments. I wanted to stay positive because I was like, he needs to hear this out of my voice because it'll sound harsh in the written word. I'm fully supportive. I think it's a brilliant idea. I hope it works.
Absolutely. I wish more people did it inspired by us.
It makes sense because he said he's in a smaller community that somewhere like L.A. would have that.
Yeah.
Because of the huge movie culture here, that it would seem like an easy outreach with the people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you end up being a pilot program and it somehow takes off and it's an abstract idea that gets applied somewhere else in a more acute fashion.
Right. And you could be breeding more listeners to our show. So thank you so much. I mean.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying.
Public outreach, you should listen.
If we inspired you, you better mention it.
Exactly. Well, at the same time, you want to promote on our show, get our beak wet.
Yeah. I mean, please.
Give us a little taste. That's all we're asking for. Give us a little taste.
Yeah, exactly. Get me out of the speeding ticket.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, if I'm ever driving, what town you in? DM us that information.
Yeah.
We know we get one get out of jail free card if we're doing like 75 and a 55 or something. Haven't been drinking, haven't doing anything.
Right.
None of the Contavious Caldwell Pope jazz.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. We should talk about that later because this show's already going long.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's bananas. That whole story is so ridiculous. But anyway.
I didn't think players did that anymore.
No.
It's crazy.
We're a civilized society. How can you get away with that? I guess he's part of the rich now, and the rich are allowed to do that type of shit.
Rich do crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening to the Top 10 show. As Matt said, I echo his sentiments. Thank you so much for contributing and being there for us and putting the money in that you do for as if you're patrons. And if you're doing the $1 thing, thank you so much. And if you're not doing it, thank you so much for listening and promoting the show.
Yeah.
Telling people on your social media, telling people on your friends and family, maybe at school, maybe your outreach programs, whatever. Turn people onto our show. I think you listen to our show because you love our banter and you love our knowledge of film, and it's a joyful time for you, especially during the Christmas and the holidays. Like, this is the day after Christmas. I hope you all had a good Christmas, and I hope you all are enjoying your time with your family, your friends, and if you're not, you're finding ways to enjoy your Christmas, because it's really important to not let yourself get lost in the bullshit of the holidays sometimes, and instead appreciate things. And if we help you in any way, which some people tweeted us that we do help them through tough times, if we're helping you through this holiday by listening to, maybe you're binging some of our episodes, then thank you so much for letting us do that. It's an honor for us to do that for you.
100%. 100%. And I just had a random idea. Did you hear about last year, like during finals, where a teacher would say, hey, if you can get Kobe Bryant to tweet at me, I'll cancel your final.
Oh, yes.
There was a couple instances, and then I remember, I think it was either Damian Lillard or TJ McConnell got that, and they're like, no, you need to take your test. I'm not
doing that bullshit.
You're like, yes! Don't let him get out of the little shits.
Exactly.
You got to take tests. That's what sucks about that part of life. We need to establish that you know your information.
Exactly.
Unless the class is utter baloney, and then by all means, tweet back at the guy.
That's right.
But if we can get, because I saw somebody the other day saying, I was listening to class, and one of my classmates stole it out of my ears and started listening.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard of other people talking about that, where they've listened to class and whatnot. If we get a class somehow to check in and know that the whole thing is listening, we'll figure out some sort of shout out or something for you.
Absolutely.
If you can get send us proof of life.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Instead of holding up the paper.
Send us a newspaper.
Yeah.
No.
It's like 5 people in a big, huge group shot are holding up like a top 10 sign or something.
Absolutely.
Tweet us. We'll give you your whole class a shout out.
Damn right.
I want to hear about it, because I hear about these other stories. We might have a shot at that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Why not?
We could be film professors.
Let's see what the influence is. Hey, cops out there, show us all the cops in the station.
That's
a
right.
picture of it. Tweet at us. We'll give you your PD a shout out on the next show.
Or even send us video, because you can do send DM us, or not DM us, but like send us on Twitter a video or of you like talking to people in your class, and them all saying they're all talking about the Top 10 show or saying something nice about the Top 10 show. We'll give you a shout out. Absolutely, I think it'd be great.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our show, Top 10 Clint Eastwood Movies. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Matt, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at Matt Nost, and on Instagram as well at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST.
And you can find me at The Roca Says on Twitter and Instagram. And thanks again for downloading the show. All the shows on the SK Plus podcast channel. Don't want to leave without giving them some props. Critically acclaimed After Schmodown Rundown.
Yeah.
Don't Be a Beardo, meaning of. I don't know if there's the Schmoes Know show that they're posting. So everything on the SK Plus podcast channel has been great.
The last week, and I'm like, oh yeah, make sure you check. Have you heard about Schmoes Know? And you looked at me like just dead-eyed, and I'm like, wow, that joke failed to a degree that I didn't think was possible. I figured just the absurdity of the entire reason they are here, and me going, hey, guys, go check it out. Like, we brought in 150,000 listeners on our own, and you just looked at me like I was the dumbest man alive, and I'm like, wow, I didn't think the joke would fail that horrendously. But yeah. And you're not going to hear from us before then, so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. Stay safe. No drinking and driving.
Yes.
Enjoy yourselves.
Because we want you to be here in 2018 to listen to our shows, man. It means
come back with a bad story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the stuff that I don't have anymore. I don't have bad stories anymore. So I like hearing about them.
Absolutely.
So what kind of stupidity did you get up into? Oh, my God, I woke up with the worst hangover because I did X, Y, and Z.
Please.
I'd love to hear it.
I don't live in another country. That'd be amazing.
It'll just make me go, I'm so glad I'm not waking up. I won't lament the drinking. I'll lament I love the fact that I don't have to deal with a 16-hour hangover.
Oh, God. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. But yeah, so Happy New Year to everybody, and we will see you all in 2018.
Yep.